So we wanted to at least mention some of the dominant models of negotiation that are out there in the literature. And the first one is distributive bargaining versus integrative bargaining. Distributive bargaining is what most of us think of when we think of what happens in legal mediations today, which is you have a fixed pie and everything I get comes at your expense. Everything you get comes at my expense. And so it's a fairly limited way of thinking about a particular conflict problem. The other more collaborative and problem-solving oriented way is to first try to expand the pie before starting to divvy it up. So that might be in terms of creating value, in terms of figuring out, well, what's really important to that particular plaintiff, or what's really important to the company. So that particular plaintiff might be really interested in some sort of acknowledgement for her 15 or 20 years of service to the company. So what can we do to create value in the defense room that could meet the need or interest of that particular plaintiff? On the defense side, frequently one of the interests I really hear a lot is we don't want this settlement to have any impact on our current employees. We don't want them to even know this settlement occurred because we have a concern that will begin to look like an easy target and this will actually stimulate more litigation against us. Very valid concern on the employer's side. And so confidentiality agreements become a big piece of most settlements these days, but knowing that, it becomes important. In another situation, a plaintiff who is behind in their rent or mortgage payments by 8 months, they need money more immediately than someone who hasn't had the impact of that, right? They lost their job, they're behind in their payments. So sometimes you can leverage, knowing that, you can begin to leverage, well, we'll give you X and we'll pay you within 14 days, or we'll give you Y and we'll pay you in 30 days. So there's a way that you can begin to fit your negotiation offers more broadly to meet the specific individual needs of whoever's on the other side. And your mediator is typically the conduit for helping you figure that out if you haven't had a joint session. If you've had a joint session, you can often figure some of those things out yourself as you listen to the other side talk. The other thing I wanted to mention here is this concept of hard bargaining. You know, those are the people who say, if that's the best they can do, we're out of here, we're walking. Now, that can be a very effective strategy if, in fact, your litigation alternative is as good as whatever's on the table that day. Because no mediator, well, few mediators are going to say to you, you need to settle this, if they also agree with you that your litigation strategy outside of that mediation is actually better for your client, right? I mean, I see some skeptical looks, so. Have you had an experience that's different? I was looking at you, yeah, in the back. No? Okay, all right. But the point there, I mean, it's my belief anyway, that if in fact you do have a litigation alternative that is better for you or your client, then why wouldn't you take that? So the goal in each room through the negotiation is to craft an offer or a demand that is actually attractive both to your client, but also to the other side, right? So you have to be looking at both sides' interests. And probably everyone in this room has read Getting to Yes, the Fisher and Urey book about negotiations. Positions are what you come into the mediation or any conflict situation with. I want $500,000. I want to pay zero because her claims are worthless, right? Those are the positions that you start with. That's what you want. The interests are everything that underlie those positions and inform and answer the question of why you've chosen those particular positions. And so the interest is what you're looking to gain understanding about as you go through the mediation process so that you can craft an offer. And sometimes it's a multiple track offer. How many of you have negotiated along both keeping a plaintiff who has not yet been terminated? So it's a current plaintiff who's still working in the work environment. I had one of these last week with a reasonable accommodation claim. She wanted to keep her job. That was extremely important to her because she was afraid of not being able to find another job out on the market if she was forced to leave this one. That was a huge element of the claim, of the case for her, and of any settlement. On the other side, you had the company who really just wanted to part ways amicably and have her agree to a resignation. And so two diametrically opposed desires, so we negotiated with two tracks. Well, here's what you would get if you keep your job, and here's what you would get if you agree to resign from your job. And those, you continue with offers back and forth on both of those tracks until you come to a place where the choice makes sense to opt for one or the other. I've even had 3 tracks moving at the same time. So thinking of offers in terms of timeline also makes a difference, or other added perks that you can add in.